Welcome to a journey where timeless wisdom meets modern complexity. Today, we're diving deep into Dharma, perhaps the most sophisticated ethical framework ever developed. In our complex world, ethical dilemmas surround us. A recent study found 78% of professionals face significant moral challenges monthly, with 65% feeling ill-equipped to resolve them. Our conventional approaches, rigid rules on one hand, situational ethics on the other, often leave us confused rather than clarified. But what if a 5,000-year-old tradition offered a more nuanced approach? Dharma provides exactly that, a framework that integrates universal principles, personal duty, contextual wisdom, and higher purpose into a coherent approach to ethical decision-making. Visit AustriaViennaPuja.com for more resources on applying ancient wisdom to modern challenges. The word Dharma derives from the Sanskrit root dhur, meaning to hold or to maintain. Far more than simply religion or duty, Dharma represents the underlying order that sustains the cosmos itself. On a universal level, Dharma is the moral law that maintains cosmic harmony. On a personal level, it represents your unique path of righteousness, the actions that align with your deepest nature and highest purpose. Unlike Western ethical frameworks that often separate rules from outcomes or duties from virtues, Dharma integrates multiple dimensions of ethical understanding. First, it acknowledges universal principles like truth and nonviolence that apply to all beings. Second, it recognizes that specific duties vary based on your role, capacity, and stage of life. Third, it remains contextual, understanding that right action shifts with circumstances. And finally, it connects everyday choices to transcendent purpose, recognizing that ethics aren't just about correct behavior, but about spiritual evolution. Let's explore the four dimensions of Dharmic decision-making that together create a comprehensive ethical framework. First is universal Dharma, or Sva-dharma Dharma, principles that apply to all beings regardless of circumstance. These include satya, truthfulness, aligning speech, thought, and action with reality; ahimsa, nonviolence, avoiding harm to other beings; asteya, non-stealing, respecting others' possessions and rights; daya, compassion, showing care for the welfare of all; tapas, self-discipline, mastering impulses and desires. These universal principles create the foundation for all ethical decisions. However, they're just the beginning. The second dimension is personal dharma, or Sva-dharma, your individual duties based on your unique nature, capabilities, and life station. The Bhagavad Gita famously states, "Better your own dharma performed imperfectly than another's performed perfectly." This recognizes that what's right for one person may not be right for another. Your Sva-dharma emerges from understanding your natural abilities and limitations, your role-based responsibilities, your stage of life, your unique calling or purpose. This personalized aspect of Dharma explains why ethical decisions can't be reduced to universal formulas. They must account for who you are. The third dimension is contextual Dharma, recognizing that ethical principles must adapt to circumstances. The Mahabharata tells us, Dharma is subtle, precisely because it shifts with context. What's right in peace may differ from what's right in war. What helps in abundance may harm in scarcity. Contextual awareness requires assessing the specific situation and its unique factors, understanding timing and sequence, weighing competing values when principles conflict, considering consequences for all involved parties. This dimension prevents Dharma from becoming rigid dogma and keeps it responsive to reality's complexity. The fourth dimension is Transcendent Dharma, connecting ethical choices to spiritual evolution and cosmic purpose. From this perspective, Dharma isn't just about correct action, but about actions that liberate consciousness and align with divine will. The Upanishads tell us the highest Dharma is self-realization through yoga. This dimension asks, does this action expand consciousness? Does it contribute to ultimate freedom, moksha? Does it align with the highest good for all beings? Does it reflect and serve universal harmony? This transcendent aspect elevates Dharma beyond mere morality to a path of spiritual awakening. How do we apply these four dimensions of Dharma to make better decisions in our complex modern world? Here's a practical framework adapted from Vedic wisdom. Begin by clearly articulating the ethical question you're facing. What exactly must be decided? What values or principles seem to be in conflict? Define the dilemma with precision. Next, consult trusted sources of wisdom. These might include sacred texts and teachings, exemplars and mentors whose judgment you trust, your own inner wisdom accessed through reflection or meditation. The goal is not to find a rule to follow blindly, but to gain perspective from established wisdom. Consider your personal dharma, your unique duties based on your role, capabilities, and stage of life. Ask yourself, what responsibilities come with my position? What am I uniquely capable of doing in this situation? What commitments have I made that apply here? Remember that your dharma may differ from others facing similar situations. Thoroughly examine the specific context and potential consequences. Who will be affected by this decision? What circumstances make this situation unique? What short and long-term consequences might follow? What values or principles are in tension? The Yoga Vasishtha advises, the wise person sees 1,000 reasons in favor of a course of action and 1,000 against it, and then discerns which way to go. Beyond intellectual analysis, dharmic decision-making involves deep listening. Create space to access your innermost wisdom. Practice sitting in silence. Notice bodily sensations that provide intuitive guidance. Ask, if I were living from my highest self, what would I do? This step connects your decision to transcendent purpose. Finally, act with what the Bhagavad Gita calls skill in action, neither hesitating nor rushing, attached neither to outcomes nor to inaction. Dharmic action involves doing what needs to be done without excessive attachment to results, maintaining equanimity regardless of outcome, learning from the consequences to refine future decisions. This balanced approach allows action to flow from wisdom rather than reactivity. Let's apply this framework to contemporary ethical dilemmas. Imagine you're a marketing executive asked to promote a product with questionable environmental impact. The universal dharma of truthfulness conflicts with your personal dharma as a company representative. The context includes your company's financial pressures and consumer trust. The transcendent dimension asks how this decision affects your integrity and higher purpose. Consulting wisdom sources might reveal principles about truthfulness in communication. Your Sva-dharma includes both professional obligation and your role as an environmental steward. Context analysis shows both business needs and potential harm. Deep listening might reveal creative alternatives that satisfy both truth and livelihood. One dharmic solution might be proposing an honest campaign that acknowledges limitations while committing to improvements. Consider a family situation where truth-telling might hurt someone you love. Universal dharma values honesty, while personal dharma emphasizes protection of loved ones. Context includes the person's emotional state and what they genuinely need to know. Transcendent perspective examines what serves everyone's highest good. The Mahabharata teaches that truth should be spoken pleasantly, and unpleasant truth unspoken unless absolutely necessary for someone's welfare. This nuanced approach moves beyond simplistic always tell the truth to a wisdom-based discernment. Finally, consider social activism, where you must choose between confrontational versus collaborative approaches to injustice. Universal Dharma values both justice and nonviolence. Personal Dharma considers your specific gifts and role in the movement. Context examines which approach might be effective in this specific situation. Transcendent perspective looks at what builds lasting harmony versus temporary advantage. The Dharmic approach might involve strategically combining elements of both approaches, firmly standing for justice while remaining open to dialogue and transformation rather than demonization. Dharmic decision-making isn't just a framework to apply in crises, it's a capacity to develop through daily practice. Here are 4 practices to integrate Dharma into everyday life. Begin each day by connecting with your highest values and setting an intention to embody Dharma in your actions. Ask, how can I align with my truest purpose today? End each day with reflection on your choices. Without judgment, notice, where did my actions align with Dharma? Where might I choose differently tomorrow? Regularly discuss ethical questions with others committed to conscious living. Diverse perspectives illuminate blind spots and expand your understanding. Practice regular meditation to develop the clarity and inner quiet necessary for dharmic discernment. Even 5 minutes daily builds the capacity to access deeper wisdom in challenging moments. Dharma offers not rigid rules, but a living wisdom tradition for navigating life's complexity with integrity and purpose. By integrating universal principles, personal duty, contextual awareness, and transcendent purpose, it provides a comprehensive approach to ethical decision-making. In a world of increasing moral complexity, this ancient framework offers surprisingly relevant guidance. It avoids both the rigidity of absolutism and the confusion of relativism. Instead, it provides a middle path, structured enough to offer real guidance, yet flexible enough to adapt to infinite circumstances. The practice of Dharma is ultimately not about perfection, but about presence, bringing your fullest awareness to each choice, learning continuously, and aligning more closely with your highest nature over time. Thank you for joining this exploration of Dharmic decision-making. For more resources on applying these principles in your life, visit austriaviennapuja.com. May your choices reflect your deepest wisdom and serve the highest good of all beings.